Hey folks, how you doing? So Mike McPhee, and I'm excited to show you just a quick project that I worked on with my good friend and collaborator Claude, who uh, who actually has really helped turn around a lot of the projects that I've kind of had percolating, but not really had the skills to put together myself. This was a start at getting to use this coding tool, by the way. Using Claude Code's been kind of a revelation for me, and I can finally put off learning Python forever. But as you see here, I've actually got a really cool script in GitHub that's been helping me out a lot in preparing for customer interactions, Cisco Live, some of the research that I've been doing. And one of those tasks that's always really chewed up a lot of time is that when you go to a website like MITRE ATT&CK, right, and the attack.mitre.org, and you're looking at things like the groups, the software, the campaigns, they've got a pretty extensive listing in there. You got 178 groups that they actually tackle with a whole lot of information. Campaigns, they're continuing to make that pretty robust as well. 59 at the last count as of version 19. But the truth of the matter is, a lot more breaches happen, a lot more campaigns have taken place, and there are a lot more adversaries or even iterations or personas that those adversaries take on. So sometimes you want to be able to actually pull that information strictly from a blog. In my case, one of the groups that I love to actually use for this sort of thing is CISA. You'll find similar sorts of content from folks like GCHQ or the British equivalent. The EU's got a bunch of great firms that use MITRE ATT&CK annotation and enrichment to help us understand the adversary. And it's a boon, right? When you go through this, it really is awesome to help inspire you to understand what the adversary is doing, what sorts of capabilities they're deploying, how they go about attacking. But when you're building a threat picture and you're looking to do a gap analysis, you want to get to the very end here, which is when you start seeing all the T identifiers. And you want to be able to see how these techniques that were observed by those researchers actually do their thing. But if you're hand mapping this, and this happens to be a different report than what's available in MITRE ATT&CK's main website, what's someone to do? Well, I'll tell you what I used to do. I used to spend sometimes 30, 45, 60 minutes trying to turn one report into a somewhat accurate depiction inside of MITRE ATT&CK Navigator. And so that usually involved going in and highlighting these things, scoring them, figuring out which sub techniques, all that. It was very error prone. And so I built a quick script with Claude's help that lets me actually go through and parse these things. It's really quick and easy to stand up, clone the repo, install some dependencies, and you've got a very quick and easy set of examples here that you can follow. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually see how that works here. So I'm actually in the directory for it. And, Apple Juice, doing a bunch of research on these folks. This report's super handy. I like that snapshot in time. I think that's a useful one to build a matrix out of. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, Python 3 attack parser.py. I'm going to use a URL to seed this. Say, hey, can you evaluate this for me? And I'm going to give it a default score of 3 for anything that's got anything to do with Apple Juice. This is based on whatever rubric you choose. You decide which threats you want to parse and how important they are in the grand scheme of things. But what this is going to do, it's going to very quickly go through and parse all of that information. And so what used to take me somewhere, sometimes upwards of an hour to check, recheck, to highlight, to get right, has now just turned into something that was a couple of seconds, as you saw there. And how do you use it? Well, I can go in here and I can say, hey, open an existing layer. And when I go through from that directory, you see that I just created, this is May 19th of 2026. I just created and built this layer directly from it. I'm not going to convert to 19 for the purposes of this demo because the blog was written in 2021 and didn't yet have the split between the defense evasion tactics. And so the disabling defenses and the stealth, they don't even exist. And there's been some remappings of techniques. So to avoid all that, I'm just going to keep it at 18 and voila, I've got it. And so you can see here that it's already preloading the scores in here for me as 3 for anything that's related to apple juice per that report. Now, Mike, what if you got a file? What do you do? What if I really want to see, what else is going on here from maybe somebody handed me a PDF or it's from a red team report or something like that? Well, you'll notice I already preceded one of those reports here. And so I can go in and very similarly give it a Python attack parser and give it the file flag and say, hey, complete the picture for me here, by the way. And I'm really worried about APT-29. They're aligned with the Cozy Bear activity group. And so I'm going to make sure that I give them their due. And I'm going to score them as a 5. And if you know me and you've seen any of my sessions, I like to score 0 to 5. So this is bad. So I'm going to give them an absolute ton of attention here. And very similar to parsing the blogs or the websites, this is going to parse that PDF, which includes a similarly structured information, and it's going to allow me to build this. And now what I can do is I can go in, pull that up, ends up in the same directory. It just, by default runs where you install it, builds the JSONs there. And in this case, another older one here, you can see they're darker red per my default rubric. 5 is as high as it goes, so that's pretty darn red. But now I can do all the other manipulations that we talk about in the main Cisco Live session or in another demo that you'll see recorded here to this channel. Hopefully this is useful. It has saved me a ton of time. I can put together the threat side of a gap analysis in minutes, and the time save and the accuracy that you get from this is just second to none. So use and abuse it, fork it, star it. Let me know what you think, and good luck. Thanks, folks.